All right, y'all, real quick, just wanted to get this thought out before I went to bed. So sorry if I sound kind of sleepy, but man, I've been watching a lot of the same videos on YouTube over the past week or so. The Kevin Samuels thing that blew up, and just basically everybody's reactions to it and stuff. I'm not gonna go so much in on that video because I feel like everybody's pretty much giving their opinions, and I understand where a lot of people are coming from on that. But one of the live streams that I caught tonight, I'm not gonna name their names because it's not so much about them as individuals, but the tail end of the live stream that I caught was basically just a bunch of black men and black women just tearing at each other, right? And it's one thing to have a conversation or have some dialogue or to check one another, to correct one another, to point out issues that we have that maybe some of us don't realize, right? There's nothing wrong, in my opinion, shedding light on these issues, right? But the amount of pain and vitriol that I was hearing from the men and the women in this particular live stream, right? I'm just like, yo, like it hurts me, but at the same time, it's to the point where I'm not even shocked, which to me is even worse because it just shows how much this is happening to the point now where it bothers me, but it's like I'm not shocked. You know what I mean? And that's to me that's a problem. So one of the people on this particular stream, he did his own stream afterwards. And once again, like I said, this isn't about the people, so I'm not gonna name them. If they end up watching this video, this is nothing personal against y'all. It's just this is just fresh on my mind. So the guy, he did his own little aftermath live stream, pretty much just complaining about the black women in the other stream, in the other podcast, right? And I understood where he was coming from because there was a lot of things that these ladies were saying that was either just straight lies or an over exaggeration. However, I didn't think he was in the clear either. Not so much about his talking points, but how he was talking to them the whole time, and how he just kept interrupting them and yelling at them and trying to talk over them when they were trying to answer his questions. Right now, there were times where the women were also interrupting him and some of the other guys when they weren't trying to answer a question and they were just going off. But I had a problem when he was trying to directly ask these black women questions, and as soon as one of them would start talking, he would just jump at them and try to tell them that they're wrong and all this stuff. Like I said, just so much vitriol in these individual people's voices, right? So he had his own stream going, and he had his the StreamYard link. He said, "Oh, anybody can jump in if y'all want to, say something." So I'm like, you know what, forget it. I was cleaning my car, so I'm like, forget it. I'm just chilling here, listening to this stream anyway. Like I can talk and clean. So I jump in, and he's like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" Blah blah blah. And I was just like, "Yeah, man. This is no disrespect, nothing like that. But I think, pretty much everybody in that stream was wrong." He's like, "Oh, what you mean?" Getting kind of defensive, whatever, like this. And I don't know how old dude was, but he was acting hella childish, in my opinion. Once again, I agree with his talking points. It's just you could just hear a lot of emotion, right? And this is coming from a guy who's very passionate, right? So anyway, he's like, "Oh, so what you disagree? What you disagree with?" I'm like, "All right, And I told him basically what I just said. I was like, "Look, a lot of the things that those ladies were saying either outright lies or they were over exaggerating. But that being said, they weren't completely wrong about everything. Like they were talking about colorism. And I'm like, yeah, colorism does exist. It's just that they were trying to use that as their sole excuse for any sort of activities or interactions that they've had with black men that they didn't like, or when they see, lighter complected black women praised or preferred on TV and things like this, they want to chalk that up to colorism, even though not every person who finds a lighter complected black woman attractive is a colorist because most people who are attracted to black women are attracted to black women across the complexion spectrum. So that would obviously include light, dark, brown, everything like this. But they were trying to make it out to be that, oh, basically, if you find lighter complected black women attractive, that must mean you don't think darker complected black women are attractive. And I was telling them like, yeah, I didn't fully agree with things like that, blah blah blah. I'm like, but colorism is real. They weren't wrong as far as what they were saying per se, but they just try to make it it's either all or nothing type of thing, right? So I was like, with you, the only thing I really had a gripe with is just how you were talking to him, not so much what you were saying. And I admit, I told him, I was like, look, I jumped into the stream towards the end, so I missed the vast majority of it. So I was like, I don't know what happened before that, so I'm only going off of what I heard. And he understood all that stuff. I was just like, you just didn't have to interrupt them that much. You were kind of proving their point in some ways about black men. So he's like, all right, bro, all right. So who's supposed to, listen when the other person's talking and not interrupt? Men or women? I said both. He's like, oh, you see, that's that bullshit right there. No, women need to listen and shut the f up when a man's talking and whoop de whoop. And I'm a man, I'm a man. See, that's what's wrong with these black women. But just starts going off. I'm like, bro, I'm like, I think myself like, yo, they're OP. I'm not saying that to be funny. Like we should have been, get going out and getting thorough therapy decades ago, right? If we actually had gotten our affirmative action right after slavery, one of the main things that we should have gotten in reparations, and even now if we end up getting it, is thorough quality therapy from trusted therapists. In a perfect world, I know, don't trust the government. Even if they did give us reparations and threw in therapy, it'd probably be some BS. I'm talking about what we should get, not what we actually would. But anyway, you just like, oh no, women need to just shut up, listen to us, and da 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 da. And I'm like, oh my god, like this is what women are talking about when they talk about fragile masculinity or toxic masculinity or the toxic patriarchy and all this stuff. Which I don't believe there's such thing as toxic masculinity. If it's masculine, it's not toxic. Now, do men exude toxic behaviors? Yeah, right. So I get what women mean when they say that, but I just think it's BS to be like, oh, this is toxic masculinity. No, if he's being overly aggressive to the point where he's abusing you, that's not masculine. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, he just go, oh, I'm a man, I'm a man. These bees need. Oh, I don't think he said the B word, but these women need to shut the f up and blah blah blah. And when a man's talking, all this type of stuff. And I was like, listen, man, when I said both, I meant when men are talking to other men. I mean when women are talking to other women. I mean when men and women are talking to each other. I'm like, how can they answer your question if you're interrupting them as they're saying it? No, man, because what they were saying was BS and da da da. I'm like, okay, let them say their BS, let them finish, and then you respond. I'm like, that's the only critique I have for you, man. No, man, no, man. It's just like, yo. And it was funny because the ladies in that stream, they said that, we as black men need to, mentor and check other black men more, which I agree that we do. That's one of the reasons why I've been in the Big Brother Big Sisters program for the past 3-4 years, mentoring teenage boys. But anyway, um, but even just something like that, where I just try to give them a little bit of game while still agreeing with them. I was like, bro, I agree with the stuff that you were saying. You was bringing up numbers and just your experiences and stats and all this type of stuff. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's not that I was disagreeing with you. It's like you just had to talk to them like that, like what I'm saying, male or female. He's like, no, man, no. See that's the problem right there. I'm like, bro, if you don't even let them talk, how are we supposed to ever get anywhere? You know. But pretty much after that, I left the stream. Well, my battery died, but after I charged up, I tried to jump back in. It was like him, some other guy and a woman, and she was trying to talk to him about, I think, about colorism and different things. And he started the same thing. He started, getting emotional and talking over. I ended up just backing out. I'm like, bro, we can't get nowhere like this. We need therapy. We need to be honest with ourselves. We need to maturely listen, and we need to respectfully communicate with one another. You know what I mean? Like I said, this isn't anything to do with Kevin Samuels, even though I think this, I guess, can kind of relate. Basically, my opinions on this particular person is the same as, I guess, my opinions overall with the Kevin Samuels uh, situation or whatever like that. Now, yeah, I know I mentioned his name, but not the other people's name. But I mean, Kevin's so big at this point. I mean, I'm talking, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But and everybody knows what happened with him, so that's different. But yeah, like I said, I didn't really want to go into the Kevin Samuels video that much, but my opinion on this situation is pretty similar. But yeah, I'm rambling. I'm sleepy. Working like 10 hours or something like that, 10, 12 hours today between both my jobs. You dig? Well, the two jobs that I did today. I got more than two jobs, but yeah. All right. Let me cut this. All right, peace.